Sinn Féin's recent attempts to reach out to unionists in the search for reconciliation have not been universally praised. Some people see them as a strategy for luring unsuspected unionists into United Ireland. Others, though, welcome what they believe is a genuine attempt to acknowledge the damage done by the IRA campaign. The initiative is being led by the party's national chairman, who's now called for greater political leadership so that politicians can be partners in reconciliation as well as in government. Declan Kearney is here, along with the Ulster Unionist leader, Mike Nesbitt. You're both very welcome to the programme.
Thank you.
Mike Nesbitt, you've expressed yourself sceptical about these overtures. Why?
Well, because it's a party political overture. We're about to publish our own thoughts on dealing with the past on Monday the 11th of June. I would expect a degree of scepticism and cynicism when we publish ours.
But you say a degree. I mean, do you think that this is a genuine attempt, as Alan McBride says, a genuine change of pace, change of direction?
I don't know whether it's genuine or not, but it would be churlish not to give it house room, and certainly we will be debating. I have been thinking about it. Declan's original statement was 22 paragraphs. On first reading, I noted down 28 follow-up questions, so it's going to take a bit of time.
Here he is, ask him.
If this is your Downing Street declaration moment, your game changer, how long do you think it's going to take us to react to it, bearing in mind it took you guys over a year to come back on the Downing Street declaration?
Yeah, well, the peace process and the political progress have moved on significantly from the days of the Downing Street Declaration. We live in an entirely new political situation. We have an irreversible peace process. We have very, very stable political institutions. What Sinn Féin is saying now is that we have an opportunity to open up a new space, begin a new phase of the peace process, and if we can develop sufficient political momentum from within wider civic society, all-inclusive, involving every political party, your party and my party, then we believe that we have the potential to bring an entirely new impetus to the political process and take our peace process to a new level entirely.
I'm a very comfortable Ulster Unionist. I'm very comfortable being part of the Union of the United Kingdom, Great Britain, Northern Ireland. Clearly you want to persuade me that my future is better served in a united Ireland.
Of course, and I'm an incredibly comfortable Irish Republican who has a vision of a new Ireland, a new republic, and yes, I'm about the business, as is our party, across the length and breadth of the 32 counties, persuading all sections of Irish society as to the viability and the desirability of that vision. But the reality, Mike, is this, that while we have made enormous political progress, and we have the stability that we now all enjoy, we shouldn't become complacent. We don't have the right to be smug about the progress that's been made.
Is your reconciliation part of that strategy to persuade unionists that they'd be better off in a united Ireland? Or is it a completely separate and self-sufficient reconciliation?
We believe there is division and hurt and fracture in our society that needs to be healed in the here and the now. We've every right to be very satisfied. We have no right to be complacent.
Yeah,
I am not prepared as a political leader.
I was inviting you to persuade me of the merits of United Ireland. I haven't heard a single syllable.
I am not prepared to burden the next generation with the responsibility of trying to make sense of, to parse and interpret the history of our conflict. Let's create a new beginning for all our children.
Persuade me that I'd be better off in United Ireland.
What I want to do is to begin a process of healing division within our society. Then you and I can do this on stage or off stage. But let's cut the jiggery-pokery, Mike. The reality is there's damage and hurt and pain in our society. Now let's move to the bigger picture. And let's move to big thinking.
Right. Well, what I want
to see,
if it's a war, what were your war crimes?
Everyone was involved in the conflict that we lived through.
That's not a gesture. Give me a gesture. What were your war crimes?
Well, with respect, Mike, Noel is the moderator of this interview, not you.
I thought you wanted to engage with me. If you want to engage with Noel, I'll take a back seat.
What we need is a dialogue. And let's have a dialogue on the issues that are impacting on our community. Now, what I'm saying is political leaders need to get in step with where ordinary people are at. You've nothing to fear from reconciliation, Mike. You've nothing to fear from equality.
All right, well, let me get in here briefly. Declan Kearney, you're talking about saying sorry, but what many unionists feel is that this is a sorry which is not a sorry. It's not, I'm sorry I did this, it's, I'm sorry if what I did hurt you. Do you not see a difference between those two things?
Let's not reduce what we're trying to begin in terms of a society-wide conversation to one word, to one phrase, or one side. Language and words were used throughout the war to dehumanise and to demonise. There is a need to find a way where we can begin to communicate with one another, Republicans and Unionists, stratified throughout society. Let's find language which allows us to communicate in a way where we can begin to understand one another better, where we can build on mutual respect for each other, and on the basis of that to open up a new space, and through that new space and a new phase of the peace process to build trust. And if we can do that, new possibilities arise.
All I'm asking is, give me something to latch on to. Persuade me of the benefits of a united Ireland. Tell me what your war crimes were.
The benefit is opening a conversation. Is that not good enough in itself?
Well, the conversation's been opened, and we're thinking about it, and we have our own proposals, which we'll be putting to Sinn Féin, amongst others, in about 11 days' time.
Well, give us some of those. One of those.
No, I already made clear to your researchers we will publish ours on the 11th of June, and we would rather have had this conversation on your programme after the 11th of June, but we're here now.
Well, what kind of thing? Give me an area.
No, I told you we would publish our proposals on the 11th of June. Now, you need to...
Oh, yeah, but you're asking Declan Kearney to do it in public, but you won't do it in public, so
I will do it in
a bit of an uneven playing field.
No. I told your researchers and your producer. Now, you need to check with them. I said we will publish on the 11th and we'll tell you about them any time after that. And if we come on the programme today, I wouldn't be doing this. And I warned, this is exactly the kind of sterile, negative, going nowhere conversation we would have.
Why is it sterile and going nowhere if
because
you are both engaged?
You want me to tell you about something that I've already said is embargoed from our...
Well, tell him. I mean, you're talking to Declan Kearney here, not to me.
No.
You offer him something, he'll offer you something.
You go and talk to your producer. Declan. Give me something to hold on to.
We both, I'm sure, agree that there's been great progress made. We're partners in government. What I'm suggesting to you, Mike, what I'm inviting political unionism to do, is to, along with nationalists and Republicans, to become leaders in reconciliation. Let's become partners in reconciliation.
Okay. What does reconciliation... Define reconciliation, please.
And let's catch up on the people.
Define reconciliation.
What we need in our society is a process whereby the hurt that has been inflicted on every side, by every side, can be acknowledged. And then we need, in a very focused and a very creative and a very, very compassionate and generous way, we need to start to look at how we can reduce that pain, and if possible in our lifetime we should be resolved on the basis of our shared and common humanity to ending and resolving that pain.
You have said that the victims feel like they're not part of this conversation, although Alan McBride, who of course was widowed in the Shankill bomb, lost his wife in the Shankill bomb, he is part of this conversation. So in what way would you like to see victims involved at this stage of this conversation?
To the degree to which they want to be involved, and we should never think of victims as an homogenous group who all think the same way. Some will say truth. And justice is the most important thing. Others will say it's my physical pain relief, because as I get older it gets more pronounced. That's all I'm concerned with. What about the tens of thousands who have mental health and well-being issues? They mightn't care about reconciliation or about truth and justice, or indeed about the services for those with physical pain.
But as a politician, are you not supposed to give leadership in that area?
Yeah, and I am prepared to engage on this, but I need something to grasp onto here, and I'm not getting it at the moment.
Much better that you and I and other political leaders stepped forward collectively, gave leadership, put forward a common agenda and a common vision, which says to wider society, Mike, that there is a new future to be recast for all of our people. And if we do that, this discussion, these conversations, uncomfortable as they may well be,
then
that will ensure that we have the broadest cross-section.
Is the vision you're offering a political vision?
It's a vision of how we heal the hurt of the past. And if we can successfully do that, if we can begin a process of acknowledging each other's humanity and recognising that we should not become prisoners to our past, that we shouldn't let the future be slowed down by the legacy of the past, then what we need to do is open up new possibilities. And I firmly believe that there are new possibilities to be seized. And there will be risks. But the new possibilities far outweigh the risks.
Okay, you started your first statement in this area. Many years ago, Unionists told Republicans our words could not be heard over the sound of guns and bombs. With the benefit of hindsight, their assertions have been proved right. That to me says, you take my view, 3,500 people died needlessly.
None of us can or should disown the past. We're not in a position to undo. We're not in a position to disown or undo. You need to let me finish. To undo past actions. But what we can do, on the basis of having got to know one another, we can chart a new way forward which ensures that the past never inflicts itself upon the present or the future
you must
again.
know that the Republican movement is never going to say that the conflict was wrong. If they don't do that, do you think there's no future in this reconciliation?
It's going to make it incredibly difficult, because the 3,500 who died
this
did
is
not
bigger than any section of the press
physically
and bigger
injured
than your party or my party.
Gentlemen,
let's do this together.
There we must leave it. Thank you very much indeed.